The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
From Mallory Square in Key West to the Governor's Mansion in Tallahassee and all points beyond, you're listening to the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com, your source for all things related to the craft beer community in the Sunshine State. And now your host, Dave Butler.
As promised, we are back for episode 106 of the Florida Beer Podcast, powered by FloridaBeerBlog.com. This is Dave, your host and author. Not going to spend a ton of time yakking today because this is part 2 of our interview at King Fox Brewery in Hialeah. Just to let you know, if you did not listen to part 1, recommend that you pause right now, go download episode 105. That is our initial interview with Louis and Stephanie Cortina, the co-owners of King Fox Brewery in Hialeah. Make sure to go listen to that, and then you can listen to this as they start plying producer Steve and I with some awesome beers, and we really get into some of the amazing things that they are brewing there, including a Dunkelweizen, which is one of my favorite styles, and I love it so much, and I was so happy that they had it. Yay! Before we actually get into the interview, do not forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. Please fill out those surveys, the 5-star. It really does help us out. Greatly appreciated. If you're going to follow us on social media, do so at Florida Beer Blog on Instagram and Twitter. We're at FL Beer Blog on Facebook. FPN Insiders is the other thing that you want to look for on Facebook. It's the closed group for the Florida Podcast Network. We are a very proud member of the Florida Podcast Network. It is a fantastic collection of shows that you should be listening to, and you can find episode information on those shows at FloridaPodcastNetwork.com as well. Enough. We'll get into it. Louis and Stephanie Cortina, King Fox Brewery, Part 2. Here we go. Enjoy.
Maybe some more stouts coming, probably. Do a stout every couple months or every month or so. Another sour is on its way. We haven't been moving sours as much because we don't do smoothies.
Yeah, but your sours are super good.
They're good, but they're not sweet, which is what people want.
South Florida market isn't sour centric.
Yeah, they get surprised when they taste the sour that's actually sour.
Right.
If you look on our Untapped, on our sour beers, we get
as I could tell by Dave's face when he tasted the sour.
Holy moly, this is sour! I'm like, yeah, dude, it says sour.
It's a sour.
It says sour on it, and actually, the latest sour that we did, which was a Kinky Booze, that's not that sour. So you tried that one?
I gave you the black that raz as well, right?
Yeah, you gave me the you gave me both.
We had the black raz. The black raz is a little bit more sour, but it's still not as sour.
But it was still good.
I normally do. But I kind of like the I like sours. If it's going to be sour, make it sour. So I'm going back to it. The next sour I'm going to do is going to be bringing it back to my roots of sourness. We're going to bring back the guapa again, which is one that people love. It's going to be bigger this time. Normally I do the guapa at about 4%, but I'm going to start making them bigger, maybe 5-6%. So, and the guava passion fruit is just such a killer flavor combination. And I'm going to go sour, man. I like sours that are sour.
You're making sours to make a sour you like. You're not making it to sell out of it in a week.
Yeah.
You would hope it could.
If I wanted to make a sour that I didn't like, I would just make a smoothie.
Right.
I don't like them. So, I've gotten people that say, hey, you should make a smoothie sour. And it's not my...
Dave, remember your experience with Smoothie?
We're not going to talk about that anymore.
I don't...
Smoothie was just like that straight up orange puree, like you poured chunks out of the can.
It's not appealing to me at all.
Not at all.
Not a chunky beer.
That's like so.
It had good flavor.
What I was thinking I could do is after my re-fermentation, because I always re-ferment my fruit. That's why my sours take so long, because I put my fruit in there and I let them rip for like 3 weeks to a month, and then I package. What I can do is I'll start packaging all the crap at the bottom and sell it. We'll make a fortune.
There's your puree.
Who can it? Has some crazy chunky smoothie stuff. Yeah, so it's not my thing. Like I said originally, like the styles of beer that we like to drink, me and Stephanie, are classic things. I love classic English styles, which is something that I want to see happening here again. And I know Lester, he's from Hello There. I don't know if you know about them. Hello There Brewing. And he's like a nomadic kind of like, he's working at Tarpon River now. He was working at Tripping Animals before. He did a collab with the Tank, and they did 2 ESBs. They did an ESB and what he called an ASB, which was a dry hopped ESB. And the ESB was amazing, and the dry hopped ESB was amazinger. It was like off the chain. It was awesome. Those are the things that I like, and like cask beers and stuff like that. Like I love that stuff. It's so cool. Milds, like different brown ales.
Right.
They're awesome.
But you also know how to appeal to the IPA crowd. You know how to make the stouts, so the stout crowd will come in and buy up as quick as they can.
Yeah, you're not going to see me doing these English styles, unfortunately. Not for right now. If I had a tap room, if we can figure something out where we can actually move the beer
you get a tap room with a smaller barrel system on the side. That's when you have your fun system.
Yeah, we want to start doing that stuff because it's something that is really good, and I think Miami needs to kind of like get slapped around with some real beer. Hey, here, check this out. The Tank is doing it. The Tank kills it, and they do a lot of really good classic styles. And
the Tank was our stop before we came here.
Yeah, I mean, I remember they did a cask porter that was amazing. It was actually for Oktoberfest, and yeah, I mean, I had a fest beer and stuff like that, but these guys were all drinking the fest beer, and they still had this cask of this porter that was off the hook, and I couldn't get enough of it, so I drank that. I was like, this is amazing. I don't want to drink anything else. This is my favorite. So, we went to Chicago for our honeymoon during a winter storm. We got there on Tuesday, and the winter storm was Wednesday or Tuesday night. Tuesday night.
And that's normal Chicago weather.
Yeah, we had the choice of, we could have gone anywhere. I mean, like literally, we could have gone anywhere. And Stephanie wanted to go to Chicago.
I want to see snow.
Well, Chicago's awesome too.
Yeah.
The vibe there is great.
You got it.
I got a lot of snow.
She got enough snow.
Yeah.
For sure. It was like crazy.
Yeah.
But we were there the whole time. I didn't drink an IPA. I mean, well, I drank one. It was because it was what's that stuff called? Phantasm. So Phantasm, that new powder that you can add. It's I guess it's like made from grapes or something like that.
The concentrated.
So I wanted to try it. But aside from that, we hit up everywhere that did not have IPAs.
I was going to say, all of a sudden that Revolution Brewing dog toy makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Even though they've got the Hero series.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you had a lot of Eugene.
No, that weekend before we got there was a huge release for them. So they had like 6, 7, 8 barrel-aged beers on draft. The lineup was kind of nuts. And when I sat down, it was early.
It was early.
It was like 10 in the morning or something like that, or 11 in the morning. We walked everywhere. Oh, so we were walking there. And when we finally got there, sat down, ordered everything. And I looked at all these 15, 14% beers sitting in front of me. I was like, dude, it's like 11 in the morning. And I'm going to have to house these today. I'm going to be lit. And they were delicious. Delicious. We had the VSOR, 2 variants, regular VSOR, 2 variants of VSOR, and some other stuff. Delicious, amazing barley wines, like some of my favorite stuff. And, what's it called? Fulton Street, the Goose Island. I know everybody talks about Goose Island and, that whole Anheuser-Busch or whatever. Man, that place is fun, man. And the beers are so good.
That area, that section is actually, they've got a lot of really great breweries there.
Well, we stayed there. So we walked there. It's the West Loop, right? So we were in West Loop. We stayed there and we had to Uber to a couple of places, but for the majority of the places, we just kind of wandered around. Metropolitan. I don't know if you've been there. It's one of my favorite breweries there. Tracy, the owner, was super awesome. She gave us shots of Malort at 10 in the morning.
Good old Malort.
Which was fun.
Yeah.
Did you see the Malort that was made with Anti-Hero IPA?
At Revolution? Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. They put it in Malort barrels, right? Or something like that?
They made the Malort with the IPA.
Oh,
wow.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so
Interesting.
Dovetail, obviously, like we said, was super awesome. It's like my favorite. Their Hellas Lager is a revelation. It's one of the best lagers that I've ever had in my life. And it was after having like all their other lagers, and I was like, I'm not going to get the Hellas Lager. It's just a normal lager.
And Hellas is one of those styles you don't see
Hellas
anywhere.
It's like a plain, it's like when you want to have you don't want to have a German Pilsner.
Right.
You want to have something that's even like more chill to drink. And you would think it's not going to be as good because it's not as. But man,
Not as
Helles
German.
lager was unreal how good it was. Rausch beer, obviously, you have to have a Rausch beer there. And, you know, the Vienna, Stephanie's favorite Vienna lagers everywhere. It was such a good time. So that's kind of getting
kind of what you want to bring. have
back to
two
Miami. I
parts
was
bring to
like,
Miami.
dude, we need more lagers, man. Like, you know.
And Miami's been always IPAs, couple sours.
There's some places, I mean, you know, my buddy Danny and Hadar over at Lincoln's Beard, they're bringing a lot of good lagers. You know, they love lagers. Hadar is doing his, what's his thing called again? I can't
Their place?
remember.
Shoujo?
Shoujo? I did a collab with them. I can't remember. But
Again, the Lincoln's Beard, you know, whole thing is that they're not the normal. They do the weird stuff. They do the stuff that's
I
not
guess so.
all over the place.
But I do think that lagers are getting back, man. They're coming back. A lot of people are drinking them. They're really fun beers. They taste delicious. Malts, shines.
And a brewery can put their spin on a lager.
Yeah.
You can change the flavors up just enough to where yours is different than Wakefield's or Funky Buddha or
Yeah,
Orchestrate.
we are coming out with a Helles soon also.
And again, a Helles is one of those, like, you know,
Yeah.
you don't find that style everywhere.
Because most people would probably just make a Kolsch. So that's my answer to people saying, why don't you make a Kolsch? Is because I say, if I'm going to make a Kolsch, I'm going to make a Helles because I like a Helles.
yes, 100%.
Why would I make a Kolsch?
100%.
I can make a lager. It takes longer, but you know, I'm fine with it. So we're gonna do a kind of a Helles with a twist. We're gonna mildly dry hop it a little bit. So we'll see how that turns out. I do like a little bit of a dry hop. I don't think is a big deal. I don't want to go crazy because the Helles lager's got to be simple.
Right. You got to sell it too.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think dry hop anything it sells.
Yeah.
Honestly, but yeah, we have, you know, we're excited about bringing these things, and people are super stoked about it. People come here, and you know, people still drink the Hefeweizen all the time. The Dunkelweizen is awesome. It's flying. You know, the gold, which is the Pilsner that we have now, it's still, you know, we have a lot of it, and it moves, and you know, and I'm super happy that we actually kept a lot of it behind, because it's also something that can sit well. You know, we can have that beer here, you know, for months, and it's still going to be tasting really good. So yeah, you know, we do a little bit of everything here. I'm kind of the one that decides what we do, and we're also open to things. You know, I take recommendations from people. I have friends that come in there like, hey man, you should make this, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I will.
Well, that's the idea of owner operator.
Yeah,
you can hear that. You can hear the knowledge and
that's the best
what
part.
people are looking for, and you can cater to it.
Yeah, it's super fun, you know, and it's good to be able to do kind of like what I want and not have to do the things that I don't want. You know, I think that, you know, I've had people say, oh, when are you going to make a seltzer? Not going to happen.
Seltzer's a niche market that,
You know, yeah. And I have heard that seltzers are kind of like dwindling now a little bit because there's so many.
they were huge during the pandemic because people were at home. You weren't going anywhere. You didn't want a 1,000-pound IPA sitting on your stomach.
You can't be drinking a beer. You got to be drinking water, right? No,
Well,
it's
a
just
seltzer looks good in a glass.
This is water.
Yeah. We all know how that's played.
Yeah, we there's a lot of things that we could do that would probably make us a lot of money, but it's not something that we're really interested in.
Well, you got the maple coffee port or the stout,
Oh, the maple, yeah, that beer.
the something.
Have you guys had that?
No.
We'll get a bottle out. That beer is awesome. We used, I think it was like 5 gallons of maple syrup for a 100-gallon batch, which is a lot. It actually raised the gravity by, it was like 0.05 or something, or maybe even more. It was crazy.
Yeah, that natural sugar really.
Yeah, and can you give me a bottle of the something? Yeah, so we have that one, and we have the It's Got Oak or whatever. That's the name. It's called It's Got Oak or whatever.
Right.
That one's awesome. That's some wood. It's a wood-aged beer. It's got the same base with the maple syrup, and it's got a ton of vanilla in it. It's awesome. So the wood character gives it like this kind of gingerbready spiced vibe, and I don't know. I get like sugar cookies,
And that's
all
why
that
stouts
other
are
stuff.
fun.
Yeah.
Stouts give you that dessert, just.
Yeah, they're definitely really fun. Can you grab me on It's Got Oak also? We'll just crack all these open.
Please don't open these on my account.
Yeah, no, it's okay. We got tons of them, man. We need people to drink them.
We've got no more room at the end.
Yeah, and then we had the latest one, which was the Harvester of Souls. We released that one 2 weeks ago, and that one's huge, and it's definitely big, thick, and black dark. It's like crazy, and it's a lot of cocoa nibs, an extreme amount of cocoa nibs, and Ceylon cinnamon.
So what's your take now? Are you on a stout is better room temperature, or are you a stout is better cold?
These are good at room temperature or cold. They just happen to be cold, so we're just going to crack them open.
Right.
But they are good warm also. And that's something that was interesting, that when we had a cold something maple coffee, you can pour a little bit more. There's a lot in that.
It's also pouring like motor oil. So
that's nothing compared to the Harvester. The Harvester, it looks genuinely like motor oil. And I put a lot more chocolate malt in that one, so the head is like dark.
So it looks like venom pouring out of a bottle from Spider-Man.
And the finishing gravity is higher, so it's also thicker. It's like, this one's 14% finishing gravity. I think for this beer was in the 1060s or something like that, for anybody who knows about that. So it's got some residual sweetness to it, but it's not crazy. It's thick, but it's not crazy thick. And it's a lot of coffee. That's good.
Yeah, we poured an extra one for the dog, apparently. Something maple coffee.
Yeah, something
maple coffee.
Something maple coffee. Yeah, not to be confused with something maple coffee.
Do you have a couple of bottles of this that you're just storing to hold for like a year or two to see how it ages?
We have hundreds of bottles of this, so if anybody's interested, they're for sale. Buy them, please. Yeah, no, we have a lot of them. That's another thing that unfortunately right now we don't move a lot of the bottles because people don't know we're here. So, this beer is intensely coffee. I wanted it like that. I love coffee beers, and I want them to have a lot of coffee in them.
This literally just smells like you brewed coffee.
Yeah.
Like, is there beer in this coffee?
Yeah.
There's beer in the coffee, yes.
Beer in the coffee?
It was about like 5 pounds of coffee, I think, or something like that. It's Foxtail Coffee from Orlando. I've been using them forever. I love their coffee. They got, I've never had any issues with their coffee, like going green pepper or anything like that. So really stoked with them. They're kind of pretty much the only ones that I use. And then you can taste the maple syrup in it. I mean,
it's there.
If we had cups that you could, like, these aren't.
I can smell the maple syrup in it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. These aren't the best for smelling, but
you can get it.
Smell the maple syrup on it. Yeah. This is awesome. And it's, we released this.
And you get the boozy note from the smell, but the booze isn't as high as I thought it would be.
Yeah. What is it like getting the grain out of this? The grain out of the system after this beer?
So when I do these batches, I basically fill up to about an inch from the top of my mash tun. It sucks. It's really hard. It's also a 12-hour day because I boil for 4 hours, 3 to 4, depends, 3 to 4 hours. And it's about 450 to 460 pounds of grain in a side. That mash tun, it's a lot. Normally on a normal beer for a 120 gallon batch, I'll use like 250 to 300 pounds of grain, depending on the size of the beer. And this is 100 gallons and it's 440 pounds or something like that. So it's a considerable amount of grain. The barley wine I just did was 365 pounds of grain for a 65 gallon batch. So a huge, way more grain, but that's because I'm shooting for a higher gravity. I don't know if you guys know about specific gravity or anything, but yeah. So that one, the specific gravity was about 1180. So that's the biggest beer I've ever made. I mean, that's huge. 1180. I don't know what it is in Plato. The Harvester was like 1170 something, I think. No, that's the other one. The other one was 1170. Harvester was like 11. Every time I've made a new big giant beer, I've gone higher in the gravity, which is kind of what I'm looking for. And it's a crazy boil too. The boil is nuts. And when it boils, it kind of, I don't know if you've ever boiled honey before.
Come close.
When people boil honey to make something called what is it called? I can't remember. There's a name for it. It's basically like a dark mead.
Yeah.
And I've done it before. It's got like these really little bubbles, and it looks like it's like it expands to like 5 times its size. It's crazy. The boil it's like super dangerous too. And it kind of looks like that here because it's basically the same thing. The gravity is so high. It's like a syrup almost. And it's boiling, and there's barely any water like really escaping it. So luckily enough, when I did that barley wine, I was boiling about 65 gallons because now it would have boiled out of the tank. Because it was like to the 140 gallon mark, the foam, and there's nothing you can do at that point. Even like putting like defoam or anything like that, it doesn't do anything. It's just gonna boil over. It's just too much, like syrup, So it's fun to make these big ones. It's just it's a lot of work.
I'm sure, but it looks like a lot of the work is really starting to pay off, especially in Orlando, which I never expected.
Orlando's digging.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I went for my bachelorette party, and every place that we went to that was like a bar, our beer was there.
That's kind of awesome.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's super cool. We try to go to places that have our stuff, but I'm always here. I'm here 7 days a week, so it's kind of tough.
Well, it definitely shows with everything.
Yeah, I got it. So we're moving a lot more stuff in Miami. It's just that since we already had presence in Orlando, and then we cut over to our new distribution partners. Now, our new rep is kind of like hitting the payment. She's moving our stuff, and then we have my sister and her boyfriend are helping us out. So every once in a while, they'll go somewhere and they'll kind of like sell our beer there for us, and they've taken on the kind of role of like ambassadors of our beer. Like they have cards and stuff.
Nice.
So, and they are in contact with Mavens to help out with facilitating like orders and stuff like that, just to try to move more beer, because there's a lot of places that maybe we don't even know about. We were just at Liquor Lounge yesterday for a drum and bass show, and we were talking to the owner, and the owner saw my shirt, and she's like, "Oh, what is that?" It's like, "Oh, that's a brewery in Hialeah. I own it." It's like, "Oh, she just started asking about beer, and now she wanted to maybe try to get our stuff in there." So, it's stuff like that happens like kind of on a whim, and we got to take advantage of it. So there's still a lot of places that we don't know about or that don't know about us. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, definitely cannot wait to see what else is coming down the pipeline for you. So thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
So there we are. We are done with Hialeah. We have spoken to everybody, and I am excited. And the next couple of episodes are going to be interesting because we are not going to be talking about beer. There was an event recently to talk about a very specific spirit that I had never tried. In fact, I was there with a small army of people, including producer Steve and his wife and my wife and their boss and his friends and his wife and just a lot of people there. Nobody had really tried the spirits that we tried, and I came out with a greater appreciation of some amazing spirits that are made in, drumroll, Mexico. So we're going to be doing a couple of episodes so I can teach you all about what I learned. It's a lot of great stuff that you can purchase here in the state of Florida right now, and I recommend that you do so, but you're going to have to wait till next week. In the meantime, our field producer is Steve Pekala. Our announcer is Jeff Brozovich. Executive producer and Grand High Poobah of the Florida Podcast Network is the amazing, incomparable Jemmy Legagneur. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to like and subscribe on the favorite podcasting app of your choice, and we will see you next week. Drink Florida Craft.